Happy Black History Month, family! February is in full effect, and here at the Nguzo Saba 365, it is still Umoja season. Now, even in the midst of all the wonderful historical and cultural treasures being offered this month, we at the Nguzo Saba 365 still feel right now our community is missing a little bit of unity. So, our contribution? 28 ways to foster Umoja this Black History Month and throughout 2020. Family, let's do this. Ujai, Assalamu alaikum, Habari, and greetings. This is the Nguzo Saba 365. I am your host, Tanya Rutledge. The Nguzo Saba 365 is a socially conscious platform with one mission and one mission alone. That mission? To inspire people of African descent in the U.S. and throughout the diaspora to incorporate the Nguzo Saba in their daily lives through education about the principles and their importance, by providing real-life, practical examples of the principles not only in practice but exemplified in practice, and by sharing simple, concrete ways that each and every one of us can put the principles into practice today. So we are super excited to offer this Black History Month special in which we are going to discuss 28 ways to foster Umoja this Black History Month and throughout 2020. I am aware that there are 29 calendar days this February, but I am positive that each one of us can come up with one way to foster Umoja on our own, which will be our number 29. Now, before we begin, I want to make sure we take time for our Ujamaa in Practice Minute. I'd like to draw your attention to my Hillman College sweatshirt. This sweatshirt can actually be found at Hillman College Bookstore, the Hillman College Bookstore online. Yes, it is a thing. If you are looking for throwback, old school sweats and tees, everything from Gordon Gartrell to Jackson Heights' own Mr. Randy Watson, you can go online at www.hillmanbookstore.com. That is www.hillmanbookstore.com and get your throwback online today, no matter where you live. Check them out because we all have a minute to practice Ujamaa today. And one more thing, family, I want to remind you to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell if you'd like to know when we upload content like this, and comment, of course, respectfully. So without further ado, and in no particular order at this point in time, these are 28 ways that we can foster Umoja in our daily lives during Black History Month and throughout 2020. Number 28, take time to learn about others in the diaspora. So obviously this channel is geared towards those who are of African descent and live in the U.S., but all those who live in the U.S. and are of African descent do not have a lineage that runs generation upon generation in these Americas. There are so many people here in this nation who have lineage that lies directly in the continent. And we need to take some time to learn about all those who are in the diaspora so that we can really be able to understand each other and support one another. Number 27, pay it forward. Have you ever had the experience of getting to the front of a line and finding out that someone's already paid for your groceries or already paid for your meal. Have you ever experienced that? I haven't. But I'll tell you one thing, that would be something that would stick out in my mind for years to come if it happened. So think about that. The next time that you're in an establishment and you see there are people of African descent in that establishment, they're behind you. This is a black-owned restaurant or a black-owned grocer if you're fortunate enough to have one in your area. Try picking up the tab for the person next to you. Black-owned restaurant. Try picking up the tab for those who are sitting beside you. And if we all were to do this just once in our lives and just ask that maybe the person who takes the money, when they let that person know, like, your tab was paid for by the person that was in front of you, all they ask is that you pay it forward the next time you have an opportunity to. What a better world we would live in, and how much better would we be as a people if we kept that ideology that, hey, someone took care of me and I'm going to take care of the next person. Number 26, join an organization that's fighting for your people. So that is very, very specific. However, it is very broad and very general because we are not monolithic. So whether you choose to join a Black Greek organization that is working to ameliorate some of the needs that are rampant throughout the Black community, or you choose to be a part of the new Black Panther Party, look for organizations that match who you are, that can help you work towards meeting the needs of your people. Number 25, use familial language with your people and about your people. So when we're thinking about our people, of course, in this video, I'm speaking of people of African descent. Think about the terminology that we use when we talk about our people. Try to make sure that the terminology that you use is empowering and it helps to build community. So there's a big difference between calling a person of African descent a bee or ho versus my sister versus my brother versus fam. Think about the way that we use terminology to unite us. And if we can use that terminology as opposed to some other terminology when we are speaking with each other, that is one way to help build unity amongst Black people who don't even know each other. Number 24, create family traditions. So Umoja starts in the home. If you can help to foster it in your home, that is something that you can carry out through the community. So start establishing traditions if you don't already have them. Or if you have traditions, recognize that they are traditions. So if every Friday night you all tend to play games and just have it and just chill, maybe call it a game night. Actually call it chill night. If you literally on Sundays do nothing from 5 o'clock in the afternoon to 7 o'clock, and you say, well, that's not a tradition. If you do it consistently, maybe it can become one, and that can be something that unifies your family. Number 23, share outdoor toys at your neighborhood playground. Now let me explain this one a little bit. There is a play lot that my son used to play in a pretty decently affluent and eclectic neighborhood that we lived in the past. And one thing that I loved about that playground, even though it was nothing said about people having to do this or anything physically written to encourage people to do this, when people had toddlers or infants that outgrew their toys, their outdoor toys, they brought them to the play lot and just left them so that other kids could play with them. Nobody stole them. Nobody took them out of the play lot. They could. They were community property. They were nobody's property. But it helped recycle people's toys, and it built a sense of community because we all knew, oh, if my child doesn't need this truck anymore, I'm going to bring him here and then let somebody else play with the truck. So it's one way to help build unity amongst our people, but also our children, for them to understand that they can share their toys and that other children will share toys with them. So leave some toys when you're not using that little car anymore. Drop that car off and just leave it in a play lot in your neighborhood, and allow your people to be able to enjoy the things that your children enjoy. Number 22, play soothing music in your neighborhood. Now, you do not have to be a violinist, as this gentleman is. You don't have to know how to play the sax. You don't have to know how to even play the drums. You can just take a music source, a speaker, position your bows or whatever it is that you listen through, and play it out your window. You don't have to play it in a way that is disruptive to your neighborhood, but generally, if you close your eyes and think of the sounds of maybe a smooth Bob Marley, a Dizzy Gillespie, a Billie Holiday, a Maxwell, and you even take out the words and just play some of the instrumentals, music has a profound effect on calming amongst our people and all people, and music can be very uniting. So if people can unite in the experience of knowing, hey, when I passed that window, I liked what I heard and it made me feel calm and it made me smile. That can have a wonderful effect on bringing communities together. Number 21, start a little free library. Now, I don't know if you all have ever seen these before, but they sort of look like bird houses with a little glass door on the front of them, and they are just little drop-off boxes where people can recycle their books. So I have seen them in a few different neighborhoods, and they're great because when people are done using their books, they can put those books away in the little free library. Now, if you live in an area that is populated with people of African descent, there is no end to the kinds of books that you could be able to share with other people and they could share with you once they're done. Think about how many wonderful autobiographies, fictional books, children's books we could share with each other for free just in our own neighborhoods by having a little free library or even just a box. It doesn't have to be something formal. It could just be, here's a little box where you can drop books off at and people know that that's what they can do and they can pick up books there. That is a great way of unifying communities. Number 20, start a community garden. Now, typically in a lot of areas that are highly populated with people of African descent in this country, there tend to be sort of food deserts. People are not getting necessarily the fruits and vegetables that they need to in order to live a healthy lifestyle. So a community garden is a great way to address that need, but it's also so unifying to know that people that are in a community could just come together and say, oh, okay, I'm going to take responsibility for watering on this day. Okay, well, that's great. I'm going to take responsibility for fertilizing on this day. People can come together and helping to build it, helping to maintain it, helping to cultivate it. And that is such a wonderful way for us to unite as a people. Number 19, provide free respite care. Now, if you are unfamiliar with what respite care is respite care is basically giving a break to someone who is a caregiver. So generally that is a caregiver for a caregiver of a person who has a illness, a disability, or an injury that is either lifelong or very, very long standing. And if you have never been a caregiver before, it is exhausting, particularly if you don't have anyone to share that responsibility with. So if you know someone, or even if it's someone you don't know, you just want to reach out in general in the community and find out how to be a part of respite care, if you could just take maybe once a month to say to someone that you know who's caring for their mom, who you know had a stroke, hey, could you use a moment? Hey, could you use some time? Could I come to your house and find out what it takes to care for mom? Could I come to your house and maybe spend like 4 to 5 hours just giving you a break so that you could go grocery shopping without worry, so that you could, get your hair done, so that you could get a manicure or pedicure. Hey, how about this? Maybe I could step it up. I have $30 that I was going to spend on my own pedicure. Maybe I can do my nails at home and I can give you that $30. Go get a pedicure and I got mom. How much would that mean to someone? These are the kinds of acts that help to unify us so that because when we know that we're not alone, we tend to want to show other people that they're not alone. And all of a sudden, people who are disjointed become a part of a community. And that is a wonderful way to get us more united as a people, especially given the amount of chronic illness that we have right now in the Black community. Number 18, mentor someone. There are so many amazing programs out there. Some of them are not Black owned or Black run. Some of them are. But there are a lot of our children who look just like me and you and me, who are in these programs who need someone to be able to look up to. And it doesn't have to be that we're mentoring children. It can be adults who need mentoring. So, for example, if you're an accountant and you've been an accountant for 30 years, there are probably a number of people who are getting into the field that would love to have your expertise, that would love to be able to pick your brain. It doesn't have to be a child when we're talking about mentoring. And it also doesn't have to be formal. It can be very informal. Some of the best mentorships that are formed are not actually formal. They grow out of relationship. They grow out of knowing someone and realizing that you all are on the same path, but just maybe not at the same time. So when someone reaches out to you, it's okay to just say, okay, let me give back to this person, because the unity that we show by reaching out or responding to these requests often is shown back to us. Think about the person who is the store owner who has children, but those children don't want to take over the store. So what would have happened if that person maybe 10, 15 years ago would have been mentoring someone in the community? Maybe towards the end of life, that person would have been the person who would have taken over their business versus their children maybe underselling the business, maybe taking on the business but not having the savvy or the love for it and losing the business. Sometimes the relationships that we make with people through mentoring come back to us, and unity can come full circle through those relationships. Number 17, enter business collectively. We, due to our experiences in this nation, tend to think of business as a one-on-one venture. I can only use what I come to the table with, and I have to do this on my own. But look for those people who have like-minded goals, like-minded concepts that are important to them, like-minded skill sets or complementary skill sets, and see what you all can do together in order to enter into a business. Now, I'm not saying to enter into this blindly or ignorantly. Make sure that your ducks are in a row. Make sure that you all are legally understanding what it takes to own a business together, particularly if one of you all wants to leave the business or if one of you all even passes away. But sometimes entering into businesses collectively has been what is the difference between success and failure for a number of businesses. When we look at people who are from other nations outside of ours, or people who are first generation here, they tend to work collectively, and that is a part of the key to their business. So look at entering into business collectively when you have an entrepreneurial venture. Number 16, acknowledge people's truths. Recognize that the truth for you may not be the truth for someone else. There are some truths that are objective, 2 + 2 is 4, no matter how you slice it. But there are other things that we accept as truth that others have not accepted as truth. And that is okay. We are not monolithic. We just have to accept that our truth may not be the truth for someone else. That the more that we hold on to our truth being the exclusive truth, the harder it is for us to be united as a people. Number 15. Befriend those with different beliefs. So this really piggybacks on the last thing I just said. It is okay to have people in your life who do not believe everything that you believe, who don't necessarily walk hook, line, and sinker with all the things that you find to be true. Sometimes you can grow in your understanding of other people by having friendships with those who believe different than you do. Sometimes you can build strength through that. I'll give you a personal example. My husband and I are of different faiths. At first, this was a problem for me, and I'm not going to even say that it's perfect now, but we were able to work around that. We were able to actually come to a greater understanding of who we were. Solidified some of our own beliefs, and really had more of a patience and understanding for those who were different from us by gaining an understanding from each other and being able to maintain unity despite our differences in beliefs. So sometimes the best person that you could ever have in your life is someone who thinks differently than you do, and someone who believes differently than you do. So that is the end of the first part of this series. Go ahead and stay tuned for the second part, where we're going to get the rest of this list of 28 ways to foster Umoja during Black History Month and throughout 2020.
Kwaheri.